Please be advised that everything in my video is purely for entertainment purposes. These are purely my thoughts and opinions and are subjective. I must advise you to please do your own research. All media users found on the public domain and are fair use and fair dealings. Hello everybody, I did it! 2 videos in the same week, woohoo! I'm really gonna blow your brains if I manage to do 3 this week, but let's not count our chickens before they hatch. Anyway, hello everyone. So I am actually gonna start this video off with something really sad. You can probably guess what I'm gonna say, but it is absolutely worth saying because we sadly lost, the world has lost Captain Sir Tom Moore. Unfortunately, he passed away due to illness in hospital because of the worldwide bug. Tom has definitely lived a very full life, so you can hear my voice. I haven't stopped crying. I keep crying. I'm very emotional over this, as lots of people are. I've seen an outpouring of people that this genuinely upset them. I called my mum actually cried. There are sometimes people, even though they don't come into your lives personally, that you can still emotionally get attached to, and I think that he inspired so many people. And one of my favourite things about him was the amount of children that he encouraged to do their own fundraising. We had Frank Mills from Bristol. He managed to raise 280,000 for the NHS. Then we had Tony Hudgell from Kent. He raised more than £1 million. It's absolutely insane. And then we've got Lewis Littlelegs, who I personally follow on Twitter, and he's currently up to 56,000 out of his 100,000 target. But these are the people that he encouraged and he inspired. He brought a massive joy to the world. He is my favourite GQ model ever. And I love the pictures of him being knighted by the Queen. It couldn't have happened to a more deserving person. And for me personally, you can see I'm welling up again, he just inspired for me the fact that it doesn't matter your age, it doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are, you can still do something absolutely extraordinary. So I think he's definitely going to be missed by so many people. Well, I should have probably filmed that segment before I put my makeup on. But to cheer everybody up, let's talk about my dogs. They are absolutely best of friends. It was almost like maybe they needed that sort of argument. I mean, as terrifying as it was accidental, I think. I think that just, you know, she caught her on the head. But they just seem to be getting along so much better. And Leela has definitely not gone for her food. But I will say this, neither of my dogs have what I would say, you know, like some people have the really super smart dogs. Mine are the opposite. Here is a picture that 1, Lucia is chasing her tail on the sofa, and 2, Leela, who is by the door, is crying and hitting the door with her paw because she can't work out how to get in. My husband used to brag about the collie that he owned and how smart they are, and I used to really say, oh, don't be so mean, of course they're not stupid. So speaking of dogs, the Middletons have got a new puppy. It was really sad last year to find out they lost their family dog Lupo. But how lovely is this? James Middleton, Catherine's brother, he has got, well, he seems to have a full pack of dogs. And the puppy that they've picked out is actually Lupo's niece. So they've still kept a little bit of Lupo with them, and I just think it's lovely. Especially at the age that Cambridge children are now. It's just perfect age for kids to take responsibility, taking, you know, the dog out for a walk and stuff. Probably not cleaning up poop yet, but I struggle to get my husband to do that for my dogs. So I'm going to jump straight in with this. Let's talk about Travalyst. Travalyst, that no one really knows what Travalyst is about, despite Harry recently doing a new announcement of, you know, the world needs to change, we need to prioritise going on holiday to destinations to help local communities. Is he under a rock over there? He is aware of what's happening in the world, right? As much as I would love to go on holiday right now, it's not at the top of my priority list, as it is for many people. People that just want their children to go back to school because they're trying to work and homeschool. People that are just desperately hanging on to their jobs and trying to make sure that they can put enough food on the table. But Harry is still pushing for these travel companies to change their ways because, you know, we must go to these really rare destinations so we don't overcrowd tourist areas, because we've all got our private jets waiting out in our gardens for us so we can go to these really exclusive places. As much as I love to help nature, and I don't like it when I see certain places that have become a tourist hotspot, especially because humans, we're not all bad, but some of us are absolutely deplorable. We trash the places, don't we? We do. You see some of the way people behave in sort of like the Spanish islands. I'm mortified. I went on holiday as a teenager, but I really didn't behave to the level of what you see. No wonder the locals don't really want the English there. You know, he can jump on a private jet and go to Africa. Africa is an amazing place that my husband and I want to go to. But realistically, you're talking about £4,000 or £5,000 for, you know, a safe, decent 2-week holiday. But the reality is, especially after this past year, most of us would be lucky if we can afford a week in Bognor. Yes, okay, he's starting up his new company and he wants to keep promoting it, but now is not the time, Harry. Really not the time. But the other thing that has more importantly come up about Travalyst is he's still 10 months later not registered it with the charity commissions. It's not a charity, it's a private limited company. It's his company. So this brings around a very important question for me. If it's not a charity, didn't he have all of the charitable donations that William and Catherine transferred when they broke up from the Royal Foundation? Then because of Sussex Foundation went, though they weren't allowed to use Sussex Royal, whatever donations were made to Sussex Royal and then from the Royal Foundation then got put into Travalyst. So I think there needs to be a little bit of clarity, and it is a sensible question to ask. I'm not trying to stir the pot here, but they're charitable donations that got transferred to his private limited company, which still has not been registered as a charity. Surely, I don't understand why reporters are not covering this. There's so many things that they're not really raising questions about. I mean, they ran the story that it's not registered at the charity commissions, but no one's really following up going, well, where's that money gone? Where did the Lion King money go? So where have all the donations gone to? I'm not saying that they have done anything untoward with it, but it is something that you think, well, hang on a minute, charitable donations going to a private limited company, it's a bit dodge, isn't it? The fact that someone has actually brought up that they still are yet to register Travalyst as a charitable company, I will wait to see if they get sued by Harry, because we know that Harry and Meghan like to sue. Speaking of which, Harry has won his court case. It was very triumphant. People magazine and everything. Harry is victorious. He has won against the Mail on Sunday, you know, who Meghan is in the court case with over the letter and the 5 friends to Thomas Markle. But he was victorious. He won substantial damages and an apology, which is a little bit odd because in December, I'm pretty sure the Mail on Sunday, in fact I can confirm it, they did actually write an apology to Harry and they offered to make a donation to the Invictus Games. But Harry decided this was not good enough. He didn't like the wording on their apology because they underplayed the gravity of their false accusations that he did not stay in contact with the military. Because if you remember, an article came out which his lawyers put towards this court case saying that the problem with the story, the terrible story that they ran about Harry not staying in touch with the Marines, is because of Harry's position, they've undermined it and now more Marines will be suicidal because they can't believe in Harry anymore. Wow. I would love to hear some comments. If we've got any Marine wives or Marines out there, I'd love to hear your comments. Any military wives, please tell me what you think. Because I'd imagine there was quite a few people, especially in the army, that would read that going, because someone said something bad about Harry, it's going to make all of the men and women that serve their country and follow duty and honour the Queen, that they are going to become more suicidal because there was a negative story about Prince Harry. You can't make it up, can you? That is just an ego explosion. There was another bit as well where his spokesperson, or his solicitors, turned around and said this little juicy nugget of a line. The truth is that the Duke's commitment to the military is unquestionable. Did he really say that? Come on, Harry has ditched everything. I know that the Queen is the one that decided he couldn't take his military fancy titles with him, but why should she? He's not in the country to do his duties, and even when he was in the country before Megxit, he didn't do his duty, did he? He turned down going to that memorial concert for the Marines that got killed by an IRA blast to take his wife to a Lion King premiere where he could pimp her out for work. I mean, his grandfather must have been absolutely mortified by that. But here he is saying, I deserve to hang on to my military titles. My commitment to the Marines can never be questioned. Oh, it can. It really can. What about the Invictus fundraiser? You know, the Invictus Games that is struggling to have finances. They were going to do a huge, I think it was the Super Bowl or something in LA. It was supposed to be this huge concert. Ed Sheeran, Beyonce were going to be tipped to be playing to do this massive fundraiser. But because Amazon had the rights to it, it was reported that Harry and Meghan cancelled the fundraiser because it messed with their Netflix deal. Netflix told them that they couldn't do it because obviously Amazon and Netflix are rivals. Now, the other bit that got me, his solicitor also also said that the Mail on Sunday offered to make a payment, when they did the initial apology in December, offered to make a payment to the Invictus Games, but they didn't follow through with it. Actually, at this point, I was disgusted because I thought that's really wrong with the Mail on Sunday. So I thought that was in really, really poor taste. But what actually came out, Chris Shipp, who is a well-known royal reporter, who is normally very much a flag in the wind, very much, he keeps it very neutral, and I'd probably say more swaying towards Harry and Meghan's defence. But this time, he actually called it out in an article. The Mail on Sunday did offer to make a payment to the Invictus Games, but Harry wanted the payment to go directly to him, and he would then pass the payment on. Why on earth would you do that? Surely you wouldn't care less as long as that money went to the charity. Why would Harry want that money first? Tax avoidance? Or is it, you know, what people keep telling me about foundations, that once they've got charitable donations, that they can keep up to 95% of that for running costs, and then they only actually have to donate 5% to the charity. I'm not saying it's what he was going to do, but why on earth? Surely you'd just be grateful, especially the fact that they're struggling with funds. Yeah, just pay them directly. But no, he wanted it to come through him. And that to me is a massive red flag. Very similar to the red flag that I am definitely seeing, the fact that he's not registered Travalyst as a charity and he's had donations, charitable donations, be pushed into that. Much like my video yesterday, where the situation got a lot worse because Meghan came forward and said that the palace made her do something. She lied about the palace. Harry's done something very similar here. He said that the Mail on Sunday offered to make a payment, but implied that they didn't do it, and that was cause of concern for him. But they did offer to make a payment, it's just he wanted the money to go to him first. It's twisting the truth. It's trying to make out that the Mail on Sunday did something very, very bad. They really are singing off the same hymn sheet, aren't they? And the problem is, because of everything that's happened, no one trusts them, no one believes them, they don't really follow through with anything they say that they're going to do. They are the biggest hypocrites ever known for me, personally, someone that is famous. They're notorious rather than famous, really, aren't they? But to finish the video up on a very cheery note, Harry's victorious statement about how he won this court case and how that the Mail on Sunday didn't pay the money and how he'd won substantial damages of $2,500. What the headlines left out, which has now come out, the judge got so annoyed with Harry's team, his solicitors, because they were airing loads of ridiculous grievances using the court case as a platform to make lots of swipes about various other petty things. So the judge has turned around and said to Harry, you get $2,500 from the Mail on Sunday, but you have to pay the Mail on Sunday's legal fees of $32,500, pretty much for wasting the court's time because they had to strike off lots of things in the argument. Now, what does this remind you of? This reminds me of Meghan. Remember, the judge told her off, Justice Warby, because she was using one court case to take swipes at Princess Eugenie, at Beatrice, to make loads of other petty accusations. And the judge had to tell her legal team, stop making this about everything else, you know, stick to the one subject, which they're not. This is exactly the same. Harry used one particular case to make loads of swipes at the Mail on Sunday. So Harry admittedly got $2,500 as an apology payment because he could prove that he had been in touch with the Marines. But the fact that he's got to pay $32,500, that's $30,000 out of pocket. So I'd like to take this as a sign that people and the courts are getting very, very annoyed at the number of cases that Harry and Meghan are taking offence to. I mean, they're literally suing everyone at the drop of a hat, although not over certain subjects. Like most of us gathered, the fact they didn't sue Carolyn or Omid over Finding Freedom. We guessed it's because, well, they were actually involved in the book. Voila, they were. So if we start looking at all the stories that have come out about them, both of them, but they haven't sued, is that because maybe there might be some truth to them? As I keep saying, they do not help themselves. And the fact that the judge in this case actually called him unduly tendentious makes me think that Meghan's court case I'm hoping that the Justice Warby might have a similar sort of attitude. Meghan might win a bit of her court case, you know, the fact that they did actually show a bit of her letter, but everything else that she's done, she might find herself in the same boat as Harry and be hit with a far, far bigger sum of money that she has to pay out just for the pettiness of this court case. And after Meghan's latest shot that the palace made her do it, I hope that Justice Warby has the same sort of sense that this judge presiding over Harry's case did. So we started off the video with Captain Sir Tom Moore, and it's a very, very sad loss. He made me proud to be British, and I love seeing him stood there with his medals. You know, he was an absolute credit to the military, even many, many years after he'd retired. And then we end the video with someone that really doesn't deserve any military titles. So let's hope the Queen stays strong on this one. Anyway, guys, I will be back with you soon. Take care for now. Bye.
If you like my video, please remember to like and subscribe. Please, angry typists, you will be blocked, so save your fingers for time. If you would like to buy me a coffee, please go to my About page and click the link. Love, Taz.